It's time to look into the future. Welcome back to Cocky Gachas, and in this video we are going to take a look at the Wishing Star gacha, and also I'm going to preview the future updates, right? The future gachas that are coming, so that you guys can make an informed decision to save or to spend on the current gacha, which in my opinion is also quite good. And how do I get the information? Simply put, I went to check out and research for the Taiwan server, and so far I've seen that their alignment, right, their gacha has followed our sequence, right? So their release is exactly our release, just that they are a few months ahead of us. So I'm going to take reference from that. I'm not exactly sure if we are going to 100% follow their schedule, but so far it has been true. So take it with a grain of salt if you can. So first up, I want to first talk about this 2 weeks Wishing Star gacha pool, and honestly this one is pretty popular. I've seen a lot of people draw for this, and the reason is very simple. This one has quite a lot of good stats if you were to take a look at it. So first we have the Crimson Horns, right? So the Crimson Horns give you Wit plus 3, attack speed plus 3%. So this is for auto attack builds, and also give you additional damage reductions against demon as well as angel. So in my opinion, I think that this is more for the hunters, and also maybe for a bit of knights that are into DPS, right? For MVP scenarios as a tank, I think this is counterintuitive because damage reduction is going to reduce the damage taken for you. So I don't think this is going to be the best, and obviously not what I'm looking for. Although the attack speed is quite good for Sacrifice Paladin, but there's no HP wise. So that's why, first thing first, the horn is not for me. The shirt itself, the costume itself, physical attack plus 3%, magical attack plus 3%. Once again, Sacrifice Paladin cannot take in the physical attack, right? So I would much rather have physical damage percentage instead, because it plays into the full damage formula. However, that is also having diminishing returns, but it's definitely better than this. The only good part is the 5% HP plus 5% HP is really good, plus 2 all stats is really good. But once again, damage taken from bosses plus 5%. So this should be minus 5%, it's not plus 5%. So this is once again going to reduce your damage taken. So all this is going to play a part in making it harder for me to get MVP, which is why I think that this set overall, right, for people that are looking to get this set, it's more based on the looks, and also if they are a DPS character, right, they are not looking to take damage, they are trying to survive, this might be pretty good for them. But as a tank, I don't think this is going to be the best. But of course, this one is also quite good for mages because of the damage against demi-human monsters as well as the damage reduction. So it's really up to you whether you want to pick up this set. But for people that are looking to see what's coming on, let's go straight in. So right now on the screen, you can see that this is my character in Taiwan server. I've infiltrated into the Taiwan server to take a look at the costumes that we are going to get. So this is going to be the set that is coming straight after the demon set that we have currently. So in 2 weeks time, we are going to have this, and this is a walnut theme, a food theme kind of a costume, right? So we're going to dive straight in. Let's take a look first at the helmet, and I'm going to lay out the stats for you guys so that you guys can make a informed decision, right? And I know that most of you guys cannot read Chinese, so this is why where I come into play and going to translate the stats for you guys. So first things first, we have the helmet. So this is called a walnut helmet. What it has is physical defense plus 16, magical defense plus 10, all stats plus 2, and also the upper weight limit, so you can carry more stuff, right, plus 500, and also small enemies, right, against small monsters you're going to have 5% more damage. So this one, honestly, it's quite underwhelming. It's not exactly the best. Let's move on next to the mouth. So the mouthpiece over here, we have the I don't know, it's a chestnut or whatever this is, right? So the stats wise, physical defense plus 16, strength plus 4, intel plus 4, dex plus 4, and then also healing received plus 6%, as well as medium-sized enemies plus 3% damage. So this one is pretty decent, I would say. And also for tanks wise, right, you kind of want this for the healing receive so that you can get more healing receive in the damage calculation, right? So this is where the MVP scoring comes into play. But of course, we know that we recently have the Doram pipe. So for people that have Doram pipe, I don't think it's exactly wise to go for this. And me personally, this is not like something that I'm really looking forward to, but I think that this is still going to be okay. The next one is going to be the back wise. You can see this freaking fog over here, right? I don't know why they came up with this design, but for some people it might look quite good. Maybe it can go with a chef set as well. So right here we have physical defense plus 16, all stats plus 2, movement speed plus 2%, and damage against brute monsters plus 10%. So there are honestly quite a lot of brute monsters. So if you look at it from that perspective, I think that this is quite decent. Plus 10% is quite significant. So on top of that, the movement speed is quite generic. So for a lot of classes, this is going to be helpful. It's not really specific, so to speak. And also it gives you 2 plus all stats, right? For a back, I think that is pretty decent compared to what we have currently, right? I think that this is going to be pretty good. So the next one is going to be the costume. So this is going to be the cooking or chestnut costume, right? So it's all the brown theme. Honestly, this costume is looking pretty decent. It has a food sign over here. Not a huge fan of it, but regardless, going into the stats, it has physical damage plus 3%, magical damage plus 3%, all stats plus 2, health recovery from pots, right? So this is potion effectiveness plus 10%, and then SP potion recovery plus 10%, and also has 5% max HP increase, and lastly SP consumption is going to reduce by 5%. So this one is going to be pretty decent, and this is the main reason why I'm also saving for this one itself. However, do note that out of the 4, right, there's only 2 of them that is slightly more useful. The head itself is not going to be that good, and also the mouthpiece is quite meh as well. So for people that are going for this, right, I would mainly say it's for people that need HP. Sacrifice Paladins is going to be pretty decent for this set. Now moving on, this is the next set. This is going to be 1 month out from now. So this is like a kid's school uniform set, right? I am not exactly a fan of the fashion for this, but for people that are looking to look cute, right, this might be the one for you. So first we are going to touch on the helmet as well. So going into the helmet, you can see the stats are over here. So for the helmet wise, this is going to be physical defense plus 16, strength plus 2, intel plus 2, dex plus 2, and then also having physical damage, right? This is physical damage plus 3%, magical damage plus 3%, and also when you attack, there's a 3% chance to cause darkness to your enemy. However, there is a cooldown of 10 seconds, and then when you have your refinement to plus 10, you are going to increase damage to all sizes plus 2%. So first glance, this is honestly quite OP, and then also if you have refinement plus 10 in the future, it's not going to be that difficult, and a lot of costumes are going to have refinement bonuses, which is going to make those without refinement bonuses a lot worse, especially if you're a spender, right? So this is something to take note of. Quite a good helmet. Next is going to be the mouth, where I think this is an ice cream if I'm not wrong. So ice cream cone over here. This is physical defense plus 10, potion effectiveness for HP is plus 5%, for SP also plus 5%, to big size, right, large size monsters plus 3% damage, as well as having anti-freeze, right, freeze resistance 10%, and also all stats plus 1. This is also pretty decent, I would say, and also a focus on large size enemies, so it's more towards MVP. Moving on, we are going to have the back, where it's the umbrella that you bring to school with you. So it's over here. So physical defense plus 16, strength plus 2, intel plus 2, dex plus 2, physical attack plus 2%, magical attack plus 2%, and then your water damage resistance or water damage reduction is 10%, and also when you refine plus 10, it is going to reduce the damage that you take from all races by 2%. So this is once again a refinement bonus that I'm talking about. Very lucrative for the spenders, but overall I don't think that this is exactly the strongest, but it's really up to you guys whether you want to pick it up. For people that need the physical attack or magical attack, is going to be quite good. I think Synexus for this is going to be quite decent. Lastly, we have the costume. So this is your school uniform, and it's over here. So your school uniform over here, physical damage plus 3%, magical damage plus 3%, all stats plus 2, movement speed plus 2%. Towards small size enemies, small size monsters, you're going to deal 5% extra damage. And then your weight limit is going to increase by 1000. When attacking, there is a 3% chance to cause the next 2 seconds, right, damage within the next 2 seconds, to deal 10% more damage. And then this has a cooldown of 12 seconds. I think this is also pretty decent. However, small size enemies isn't going to be the most useful, right? So this is one of the weaker parts of this whole gacha, and also there is no refinement bonus. So this is your school uniform set. Moving on, next we have this blue set. I think it's like a sailor set. I'm not too sure. It's like a commander, sailor, whatever that is, right? It's a bit of a weird combination. If you ask me, I don't think it looks exactly the best compatible, right, between all the all the set pieces itself, but you guys might think differently. Regardless, starting with the head, we have the physical defense plus 16, magical defense plus 10, all stats plus 2, and then the cooldown for all your skills is going to minus 2%. I think this is called global cooldown. So global cooldown minus 2%, and then silence resistance plus 10%, and also stun resistance plus 10%. So this is going to be quite alright if you really need the global cooldown. But other than that, I don't think it stands out that much. Stun resistance is good, especially in PvP because of stun locks and stuff like that. But I don't think this especially stands out or anything. The next one is going to be the mouth wear as well as the head wear or the face wear, right? So let's first start with the face wear. So the face wear here, it's called a cogwheel specs or something like that. So it's like made out of cogwheels. It's a bit weird. I'm not too sure. Regardless, physical defense plus 16, strength plus 5, crit plus 4, and then the damage reduction from medium-sized enemies plus 5%, then damage dealt to medium-sized enemies plus 5%. I think this is quite insane if I'm not wrong. Like just looking at this, right? Plus crit, for people that need crit, this is going to be good. But on top of that, you also have the reduction plus 5% and the damage dealt plus 5%. It's somewhat similar to what we have over here, right? But this is only towards demi-humans, but this is to medium enemies. This is really quite sick. So very good one indeed for these specs, although the looks is quite sus. Next is going to be the sparkling thing on your mouth, right? I'm not sure why this kid is doing such a dangerous act, but regardless, physical defense plus 16, the Vit plus 5, agility plus 1, and then also have the global cooldown reduction of 2% towards demi-human race plus 3% damage towards or receiving damage from demi-human race. So demi-human race damage reduction plus 3%, and then when you refine to plus 10, you're going to get additional plus 1 all stats. Refine to plus 12, additional demi-human damage plus 1%, demi-human damage reduction plus 1%. So this is really quite a PvP set, I would say. So if you look at the specs itself, it already has medium size, which is similar to demi-human, right? So for PvP, it's going to be good. And then also the stun helm is also for PvP, and also the mouthpiece is also towards PvP. So a lot of things are towards PvP. If you really want PvP, I think saving for this set is going to be super good. And of course, lastly, we have the costume. So the costume over here, physical defense plus 16, magical defense plus 6, all stats plus 2, physical damage plus 3%, magical damage plus 3%, attack speed plus 3%, and also dealt damage towards other players plus 2%. So I think that when the specific term is being used, right, towards other players, it means that it's not really demi-human, it's not medium size. So this is only strictly for PvP. So once again, it reinforces the fact that this whole set is for PvP. If you really want to PvP, I think this is going to be super decent for you. And especially I think it's for snipers as well because of the attack speed boost, the crit boost. You can probably also use it for Synex, but I think that the meta right now is just SBK, right? The red card build is really quite rare these days because it's really quite weak compared to SBK. And also for G Knights, I'm not sure how many people are still playing G Knights. That's the only thing I can think of. So overall, a very good set for PvP, but this is only coming out in 1.5 months. So if you want to save, you can start saving. Probably you can hit PT, and then you can get 150 redemption tickets, and then you can redeem for one of the parts that you really want. Now for our last preview of this video, this is going to be the set that's coming out in 2 months time. So this is quite some time away. This is the rabbit set. So starting with the rabbit helm, overall it's very cute. You can see there's even a balloon over here, right, for the back. So I would think that this is quite cute, but not really my style. Anyways, going into it, the helmet wise, we have physical defense plus 16, magical defense plus 16. So quite notably, quite a lot of magic defense on this one. Vit plus 4, and also something very interesting is that this has the player character level. Every 10 levels you're going to get the physical and magical attack plus 4%. So imagine that if you are at level 80, you should be getting 3.2%, right? So subsequently, every 10 levels, you'll get another 0.4% increment. This is the first time I've seen something like this. For refinement plus 10, you're going to increase damage to demi-humans by 3%. For refinement plus 12, you're going to get both the attack speed plus 2% and also you're going to get the global cooldown reduction by 3%. So as you can see, and like I've mentioned, right, the further we move towards the future gachas, the more refinement comes into play and the better it gets, so to speak. So really, it's going to be more and more OP. And for some of the more recent costumes and headwears stuff that you can get from Wishing Star that I've seen from Taiwan server is really strong compared to what we have right now. Regardless, moving on to the next piece is going to be the mouthpiece. This is a cookie, if I'm not wrong. So the cookie over here, physical defense plus 16, global cooldown reduction 3%, and then it also has wind and earth elements damage increased by 5% each. So this is more for PvE, but also if you need global CD, like I mentioned, this is going to be decent, but overall not going to be the most spectacular piece out of this whole set. Next, we are going to talk about, of course, the balloons, right? So for the rabbit balloon over here, physical defense plus 16, strength plus 5, intel plus 5, dex plus 5. The movement speed increased by 2%, attack speed increased by 3%, and also damage reduction for boss monsters going to be 8%. And when you refine it to plus 10, you're going to additionally get 2 G out of this. So this is more for auto attack builds, and like I mentioned, right, not really that much for tanks, since tanks would want to increase their damage taken. But of course, for Endless Tower is going to be quite decent, and in the future, Taiwan server right now has Endless Tower 60 floors, so it's not just 40 floors. So you probably need to face even stronger bosses, and this might come into play. But for MVP scenarios, not the best. Lastly, we are going to talk about the costumes. So the costume over here is the Barney uniform, whatever that is called. Physical defense plus 16, physical attack plus 2.5%, magic attack plus 2.5%, and also all stats plus 3, healing received plus 5%, damage to boss enemies is going to increase by 6%, and also all elemental statuses resistance going to be 5%. So silence, fear, stun, whatever that is, right, all the status elements, you're going to have 5% resistance. So this is quite a universal set, but of course this is going to increase physical attack instead of physical damage. And then also it's going to be a bit more for tanks, right, like I've seen here. This is going to receive a healing increase, but also it increases your boss damage. So I'm not too sure what is the intention for this set. It seems a bit confused to me, but overall the whole gacha for this rabbit seems quite average at best. In summary, these are the 4 sets that are upcoming for Ragnarok Origin Global based on the Taiwan server, right? Once again, take it with a grain of salt if they were to change the sequence. I'm not responsible for you guys trying to say for something that's not coming, right? Regardless, I do think that it's highly likely they're just going to follow because devs are freaking lazy. Anyways, if you guys want to say for one of these sets, right, I do think that the PvP set is going to be the best, right? This PvP set itself, all 4 of the items are pretty good, but for me personally, I'm probably going to just spend my 30 tickets or 32 tickets next week on this walnut set or this chestnut set, whatever that is, because it has quite good stats for Sacrifice Paladin. And me personally, like I mentioned, right, I don't like to save for ultra long. I think that it's going to decrease my fun in the game, especially since I'm not a heavy spender, so I kind of need some dopamine hits from time to time, right? So I'm just going to spend on this one. If you get it, good. If you don't get it, so be it. I will just work towards the PT system so that in the future, when the really OP sets come out, it's going to be really good for me to be able to obtain it instantly. And that about does it for this video where I touch on the upcoming Wishing Star banners or gachas that is coming to Ragnarok Origin Global based on the Taiwan server. So definitely let me know in the comment section below if you are personally really liking which one of these sets, upcoming sets, and also if you're going to save for this upcoming sets instead of spending on this current demon set. Also, if you're interested in seeing me refine my journey towards a plus 15 weapon, definitely check out this video over here. You'll see what happens. I'll see you guys over there. This is Corky Gachas, signing off.